Rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukr to Allah, it's another Friday that we have been blessed with. I'm blessed with good health, I'm blessed with good mental health, spiritual health. I'm physically fit, spiritually fit, physically fit, emotionally fit. Shukr to Allah. It's only because of Allah and His guidance that we can be the best versions of ourselves. Without His guidance, we'd remain without His guidance, we would not be, where we are. And we make shukr to Allah for His guidance. Without it, we are nothing, So we are people who value guidance. See, you got to recognize there's a thing called guidance. You got to recognize that humanity requires guidance, and you got to be among those who value it. You got to be present enough to observe, to be aware that, okay, I'm living, everybody else is living, we're all living, but are we living aware that we require guidance? Are we living aware that there's a thing called guidance? Guidance is a thing, in this world. Some people might think money is a thing, a job is a thing, going to college is a thing, but guidance is a thing too in this world, and receiving guidance is a great thing, So we'll be like living our lives, like I'm telling you now, right? My journey started in the mid-90s, towards the end of the mid-90s, and we're living. I was living. I didn't know, I didn't know there's a thing called guidance. I didn't know that I can become aware of guidance. I can actually engage the guidance, receive the guidance. When I was little, they say go to madrasa. In madrasa, you get like a child schooled into a lot of things and brainwashed into a lot of other things too. You know what I mean? And you grow up thinking, okay, so I know what it is to be a Muslim because I said the kalema and I know how to make wuzu. I know how to, read my namaz, read my salah, whatever the tribe does, your particular group of people do. I'm a Muslim, But I didn't realize that guidance, the real guidance, I didn't actually access real guidance. I wasn't aware there's a thing called guidance, and I wasn't aware that I could receive the guidance. I was busy doing things like most of us are doing things. We think, no, but I'm a Muslim, or I've been educated in Islamic teaching and I'm living my life. I don't eat pork, I'm eating halal. I ask, this means I'm a Muslim. I starve myself in the month of Ramadan. I'm a Muslim. I'm dressed a certain way. I'm a Muslim. So what we don't realize is that we are schooled into a Muslim identity, like what it means to be an identity. Well, if you're a Muslim, this is how you look, this is how you'll speak, this is what you'll do, this is what you won't do. But that's an identity. What does the Muslim identity do? I'm talking about an identity as a believer, right? So I didn't know. I didn't know there's a difference between a Muslim identity in terms of religiosity, and I didn't know there's an identity of a believer in terms of spirituality, iman. There's Islam, and then there's iman. Iman is like spirituality, faith. Islam is like the religious aspect of it. You get what I mean? People have made a religious aspect of it. That's what the Quran says. Do not say that you are a believer, for faith has not entered into your hearts. Those who, it says, rather say you are submissive in religion. Rather say you are more interested in the religious aspects, but not in the spiritual aspects. Only those who are in the spirituality of like their true identity as believers can say they are believers. I didn't know there was guidance, right? I thought I know everything, I'm just live my life. But I couldn't see that I was living no different from the kuffar, the deniers, the mushrik, the associators, and the hypocrites. In fact, I was a hypocrite. In fact, truth be told, I was all three. I was a hypocrite who denied God. I was a hypocrite who associated partners as committing shirk in unconscious ways, thinking money had power, people had power, must turn to people, claim refuge with people, and all that sort of thing. I didn't know there was only one power, the one that has created us all and continues us all. I wasn't aware of God. I thought God was somewhere here in time and space. You know what I mean? I wasn't aware of Tawheed, what Tawheed really meant. Anyway, so I became aware that I was unaware. I realized that there is a thing called guidance, and that I could receive this guidance. It's like there's a thing called work. When you're growing up, you realize there's a thing called work and you go to work. You know what I mean? Or there's a thing called getting married and you get married. I didn't know there's a thing called receiving guidance. I didn't know. You know, some of you might not realize there's a thing called receiving guidance. You know, that's why I am mentally fit, as I've been as fit as I've ever been mentally. My mind is clean, hygienic, because of the guidance. My heart is as clean as it has been. It's clean, it's fit. My heart is fit, hygienic. My spirit is clean as it's been. It's fit compared to where I was, right? My heart, there was a disease, but now it's not like how it was before. It's cleaner. I'm cleaning it out still. My body is fit, strong than it's ever been before. I can't tell you, you know, I got a problem. I cannot tell you I got a problem in my life. But it started off with, God, I got this very big problem, please help me. You know, fix it for me. And I didn't know the problem was, I didn't know God. I didn't know my Creator, whom we call Almighty Allah. I didn't know. I was not guided. I was living superstitiously. I was living ignorantly. Yes, I had a Muslim identity. Yes, I went to madrasa. Yes, I was saying Allah. Yes, I was saying Quran. Yes, I was saying the Prophet. I even grew a beard a little bit. Stubble one, you know, slightly bigger than a stubble one. I thought that meant maybe now God will help me. You know, I'll keep some fast, I'll do these things. God will help me. But I didn't know the help that I required was to become aware of God, to become aware of my Creator. I was one living unaware. I didn't know that human beings had forgotten Allah, and that we are to remember Allah. I didn't know that human beings, because we forgot Allah, there's a diseased heart, and that disease is expanded in our heart, that we're off track and we're going downhill. I didn't know that. But Allah is compassionate and merciful, and He calls us back. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know about guidance and receiving guidance. So I turned to people, the gurus, the pandits. They didn't know either, but they thought they knew, but it didn't help me. So I turned to Allah. I said, Allah, if you are there, you know, because I wasn't sure. Because I thought He was doing all these things to me. These Hindu ideas of, destiny in terms of Hinduism permeates the Islamic culture. Because if you look at our bodies, these bodies are from Indo-Pakistan, it's Hindu. You know, there's Hinduism running through most of Indian people's blood than Islam, because Islam is about a couple hundred years old, if that, in India. But there's a lot of Hinduism in the Indian people. You know what I mean? So these ideas, male chauvinism against women, is very rife, right? It's not Islamic at all, but it's very rife in the Indian Muslim community. And there's these kinds of superstitions that, it's fate, F-A-T-E. So it was my fate to suffer. You know, there's nothing I can do. Allah says, if you remember me, I will remember you. You can do that. You can remember Allah. Allah says, if you fail to remember me, yours will be a depressed life. Allah is saying to us, there's a part that you have to play here. We act like from the Indian Hindu ways, you know what I mean? No, there's no part. It's just God decides everything for us. Our path is already decided. There is taqdeer, but let me tell you, it's not the Hindu idea of fatedness. You understand? We all have a life based on us, and it's another story for another day. But I can tell you that you can, the Prophet, the Quran says about dua changes your destiny. Dua changes your destiny. You understand? So if your destiny can be changed, it is not set in stone. If you have a choice in the matter, and you can, I would have been sick and ailing if I didn't receive God. I'd probably be dead. I'd probably be mad, you know what I mean, in some way. So I've never been this good, I never felt this good, only because I humbled myself, I submitted. You see, the Quran says those who fail to believe and those who believe, there's different consequences for them. The Quran is inviting us to submit. That means you have the choice to submit. You can't say, well, this invitation is a big fake because God already chose me to not be a believer. You get what I mean? Everybody's given the invitation. Everybody has a choice. You can reason. Reason about reasoning. Reason. The lowliest of people, the Quran tells us, are those who won't use reason. So people believe superstitiously, like you got no power, you got no choice, you can't do anything, it's over. You know what I mean? Yes, you can become more aware. You can actually experience security in your heart. You can raise your feeling state of security. You can go from being in the darkness into the light. That's what the Quran is calling us to. You can go from ignorance into enlightenment. You can go from superstition from falsehood to truth. You can go from arrogance to humility. You can humble yourself. That is choice. You can stop worshipping Satan. You can start worshipping Allah. You can ask Allah for forgiveness. He can forgive you. He can pardon you. That is choice. But Islamism is very deep in Hindu ideas. And I'm not against Hindu ideas, and I'm not for Hindu ideas. I have truly Islamic empowering truth. You know what I mean? So I don't care what people believe. As long as I know from where I was and where I am, and things are getting better to my death and beyond. I'm looking forward to a death, a pleasant, pleasing, pleasurable death. Things are just getting better and better. The Quran says that keep us on the straight path, strengthen us on the path upon whom your favors are upon us. You know what I mean? If you remember Allah, the Quran says you'll feel assured. And if you remember Allah abundantly, the Quran says you will progress and prosper. If you are thankful, you'll get more. You know what I mean? There's only good news here. But again, the Quran is kept a big mystery among the Islamis, just to be read in a language they don't understand, but never to be used as a guidance to the healing of the diseases in the heart by the Islamis. The Islamis are not interested in the message of the Quran. They're interested in what the Guru and the Pandit says. Get what I mean? Because it's India. It's just here, a couple hundred years later. It's just here in South Africa, maybe in other parts of the world too. So anyway, I'm just saying to you that guidance is a thing, and receiving guidance is a thing. Like if you go to work, you get paid. It's a thing. Guidance is a thing. You receive guidance is a thing. So I became aware that I was unaware. I became aware that I was unaware. It's a wonderful awareness to have. Because if you're not aware that you're unaware, you assume yourself to be aware, you will just continue in your patterns and in your cycles. I would have just carried on as the man that I was, young man in the mid-90s, lost and confused, dazed and confused through life, wondering why things are happening to me. In the meantime, if you fail to remember Allah, yours is a depressed life. I didn't realize that. The Quran says if you have Iman in your heart and you conduct yourself with Amal, whether you're a man or a woman, there will be for you in your heart, there will be for you in your life a tayyib life. There will be a wholesome life. I'm living a wholesome life. I'm connected with my Creator. I'm connecting with myself. Iman and Amal. I'm letting my Creator care for me. I'm letting me play a positive role in my life. That's what I want to speak to us about today. I want to tell you something that will make you see, because I've seen. The idea here is, will you see? Will you become aware? Or will you remain unaware? If you remain unaware, it means you're worshipping Satan. If you're living your life filling your head with all ideas, including religious ideology, but you're not becoming aware. You're not becoming aware of Allah, His greatness, His graciousness, His gifting nature, His giving nature, His granting nature, His gifts. You're not becoming aware of Allah, His alone the perfect, alone the flawless, the free of disease, the free of defect, alone the blameless. If you don't become aware of Allah, the all-powerful, the provisioning, the providing, what we provided with by Allah, the potentials and possible, if you don't become aware, you will remain in a state of unawareness. The Quran's message is look and see that the humans were created to worship God. What does that mean? The humans were created, and the jinn were created to be aware of God, to relate to God, to respond to God. We are given the capacity to actually become God aware and experience the security. Verily, in the remembrance of God, hearts experience assurance. Verily, in the remembrance of God, hearts experience assurance. That's how I feel in my heart, assured. Because I remember God. I've become aware of God. Until then, you're unaware of God. Those who fail to remember God, theirs will be a depressed life. You know what I mean? I was there. I've been there, done that. I thought I was a believer, but the Quran says don't say you're a believer. The others say you're just practicing religion. And even practicing too. And the others don't even practice it. They take the halal, but they forget the tayyib. They think they're practicing religion. That's not religion. That's not the real Islam as a religion. That's Islamism, picking and choosing, thinking you're doing something wonderful, not really benefiting from the message of the Quran, not really benefiting spiritually, not benefiting mentally, intellectually, not benefiting emotionally, not benefiting, in all ways, whether it's spiritual, mental, psychological, intellectual, emotional, physical, personally, interpersonally. The Quran is a book of guidance, guiding individuals, couples, families, communities, society, nations, the world, to development, to live at a higher level. If you remain unaware, you are unaware. You know what I mean? That means you're not aware. The Quran says those who are aware and those who are not aware are not the same. So you either live your life unaware. You can fill up all your minds with schooling and teaching and all that sort of thing. But if you don't become aware, if you are unaware, you're unaware. It's like those who don't know. There's a saying that said it, I think some years ago somebody told me. It says there are those who don't know but they think they know. Avoid them. Something like that. Those who don't know but know they don't know and they want to know, teach them. Something like that, right? But there are people who don't know they don't know. And they don't want to know. And sadly, I was one of them. But happily, I humbled myself. God, you guide me. Instead of thinking the gurus and pandits guided me now, I went to madrasa, I finished my guidance, no more guidance. I eat halal. I have no clue about tayyib, but I'm a Muslim. You know what I mean? I'm just reading a book in a language I don't understand, mindlessly. The Quran says it's a book for those who reason. It's a book for those who reflect, a book for those who contemplate. Anyway, a crisis in my life brought me into a moment of presence that something is not right. Something is not right. Now, usually, people when they have crisis, they know something is not right, help me God, right? I was like, something is not right, But I didn't say, help me God to fix my problem. I said, help me God to see what I can't see. There was a difference. You see, when people have problems, they want relief, safety, and excitement. They want God to make it like how it was. They don't want to be in the situation they are because they can't continue to be how they were. Usually, when people have problems, they pray to God, take it to before it was how it was. Before this problem, take it there. If you have a situation with a spouse, or they're getting a divorce, no, we don't want to get a divorce. Let's go back to how it was before the divorce. It won't be like, let me become a better husband, or let me become a better wife, or let me become a better human being, or let me develop iman at least. Usually that doesn't happen. When people are sick, take me back to before sick. In the meantime, all that not eating tayyib, eating all that, destroying themselves with their own hands, clogging their arteries, not caring for themselves, their bodies, they don't want to address it. Just, I don't want to be sick. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sick. So fortunately for me, when I hit that rock bottom, I understood that there might be something wrong with me and how I'm living my life that's creating a problem. And I asked for guidance, and guidance came. And it's continued. And I continue to get guidance. If you believe in Allah, He'll guide your heart. My heart is guided. I'm not just saying it, I don't want you to believe me. It means nothing to me whether you know, what you think of me and my life and how I'm living means nothing to me. But how I'm living means something to me. I'm very pleased. You can have all the money in the world, you can have everybody's adoration, you can have 100 children, you can whatever the people think of this world. The Quran says, neither will your wealth nor your children avail you, except those who bring to Allah a purified heart. Only those who are cleansing their heart is going to be of benefit to them. You get what I mean? So for me, I'm cleansing my heart. I can also have all those other things of the world. I got no problem with that. But the basis of my life and living is remembering Allah, drawing closer to Allah, asking Allah to keep me close to Him always, and to have Him support me in cleansing my heart. Wherever there's negativity, cleanse it. I'm willing to go beyond who I've been. I'm willing to live in a different way. I'm willing to go beyond what I've experienced. I'm willing to become a different person. I'm willing to develop myself. I'm willing to learn, grow, and develop. See, it started that time in the mid to late 90s. I started learning. I humbled myself and I said, I want to learn. Teach me. And then it started coming. A most beautiful adventure that continues today. So I want to share with you today something very, very simple but very profound. I mean, I've said many things, but what I'm about to share with you today is something that can awaken you, because it did awaken me. And I think those of you who've been listening to the series and been following the series, you might be ready for what I'm about to say. Because those who are not listening to the series and don't follow the series and are just listening to this, they might just switch off. Because they can't, they can't relate that the way they're thinking and what I'm saying, they can't imagine that they are so astray. Sometimes you can be so astray, but you don't know how astray you are. That's an indication that you are very astray. You can be so lost that you don't know how lost you are. I mean, that's really lost. If you know you're lost, you're not really lost, right? Can anybody be as lost as a person who doesn't know that they are lost? Isn't that what it really means to be lost? When you don't know you're lost is really lost. When you know you're lost, but not really lost. So some people have, they have this mindset that they are, they're on the right path, everything is okay. They deceive themselves in Quranic ways. They say that, that there are those who say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they don't believe in Allah in the last day. They lie to themselves and others. They believing they're lying to Allah, but they don't lie to Allah. But they only lie to themselves. Self-deceivers. That's why I said, if self-deceivers are here, what I'm about to share with you today, they can't integrate it. It's like, can't be. If somebody says, I want to go to South Africa, but they're in South Africa, and you tell them they are in South Africa, they will say, can't be, because I want to go there. They say, look, here's the Table Mountain, here's the Kruger National Park, whatever. Here's the Tsitsikamma, here's the garden route. You are in South Africa. They'll be like, you're talking nonsense. I'm not in South Africa. Don't tell me this. You're lying to me. So there are some people so lost. Some people so taken by Satan. They're so astray that they don't know how astray they are. The Quran says in their hearts is a disease, and that disease is expanded. The Quran says that they are astray and they are left to stray. So this is why I'm saying to you, I can't, even if I give them the best teaching, and if I share with them, the Quran is there. If I share the message of the Quran with them, share the message of the Prophet with them, share the message of Islam with them, it's not going to help them. Because they already think they know Allah. They already think they know Quran. They already think they know Islam. They already think they know the Prophet. They already think they're Muslims. So when you tell them, not really, you're not really a Muslim. What? I eat halal. They're so clueless. But the beauty of it is we have the Quran. I can share with you from the Quran. You know what I mean? They can't dispute that, because if we didn't have the Quran, they'll dispute it. So they just run away from what I'm about to say. So when I was in the darkness, right? And I was with other people, the gurus and the pandits who were in the darkness. I'm not judging all of them. I know I'm stereotyping, and I know I am generalizing, but I didn't find a single one that could assist me from the darkness into the light. Now, I didn't know I was in the darkness, right? I thought Allah made a mistake. Other people were just being bad. You know what I mean? This is a situation that I must turn to Allah, and He must fix it for me. I didn't know, if you fail to remember Allah, yours is going to be a depressed life. I didn't know that. I didn't know the message of the Quran. That I didn't know that I wasn't remembering Allah. I didn't know that I wasn't aware. I didn't know that we had human beings have forgotten Allah, and guidance would come to us, and those who would receive the guidance will no longer be insecure. I didn't know I was insecure, threatened, vulnerable. I didn't know I was living without Iman in my heart. I was insecure. I didn't know my heart was... I didn't know Allah. I thought I knew. That was lost, right? But here's the thing. What I know today, when I woke up today, this is the guidance that came to me. How wonderful is this? This guidance, I'm sharing it with you, right? That Allah is truly the caring of humanity. Allah is truly the caring and the compassionate to humanity. Those who are aware of Allah's caring, His consideration and His compassion, they who recognize Allah's caring, consideration and His compassion, they are the ones who will be kind to their soul. Only those, only, listen to me very carefully. Ponder this, think about it, reflect it. The Quran says reflect. Only those who are aware of Allah, right? Who acknowledge Allah. I'm not talking about an idea of Allah that the mushriks and the Islamis have, the hypocrites have, right? I'm not talking about an idea. In your mind, you can have an idea. You can have an idea that I'm a Muslim. You can have an idea that I'm a believer. You can have an idea, a thought that you know Allah, but you don't know Allah. You don't know Tawheed. You don't know the guidance of the Quran. You don't know ikhlas, sincerity. You don't know. You're just a child who was told things, and you have them in your mind, and you're told to do this and do that, and this just continues, and you carry on. So you don't know, right? I didn't know. But I came to know Allah. I acknowledge Allah. So the first thing is I came to acknowledge that I wasn't really aware of Allah. I came to accept that I wasn't really aware of Allah. I know about Allah, but I don't know Allah. You can know about something. You can know about Islam, but you might not know Islam. You know what I mean? Somebody might tell you something. You can know about driving a car because you saw somebody else driving a car, or you were in the passenger seat as you saw somebody driving a car. But you don't know driving a car. You might see people riding a bicycle, but you don't know what it is to ride a bicycle. You understand? You might think you know about Islam, about Iman, about Allah, about the Prophet, but you don't know what Iman is. You don't know who Allah is. Allah is not a person, but you don't know what Allah is. Allah is not a thing either. Allah is beyond personality and things. Allah is the unique power. Allah is the one because of whom we are, who continues us. We can humble ourselves and say, it is Allah who caused us, it's Allah who continues us, it's Allah who cares for us, it's Allah who considers us, it's Allah who champions us, it's Allah who cherishes us, it's Allah who calls us back to the path, it's Allah who cheers us along the path. As we take one step towards Allah, Allah takes 10 towards us. It's Allah. We can become Allah conscious, beyond the ideas of Allah, beyond the brainwashing of Allah. You know what I mean? Being brainwashed about Allah is not the same thing as actually being aware of Allah. Having a child mind and your mind full up with ideas of Allah, but you don't know Allah. I mean, if I ask the average Islami, tell me about Allah, I don't think they can tell me more than 5 sentences. I can write 5 volumes if you ask me about Allah. I'll write 5 volumes for you. I'm not showing off. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you the truth. I have chosen to be aware of Allah. I'm aware of Allah. I can tell you about Allah. I am experiencing Allah consciousness. I have Iman. I have yaqeen, certainty. I have taqwa, the shield of faith. I can tell you about Allah because I'm Allah aware. You understand? I can tell you about Allah. For hours and hours I can tell you. But there was a time when I thought I knew about Allah, and I thought Allah was, I must be desperate too. I'm needy. Help me, help me. It's all about I'm scared, I'm afraid, bad things can happen to me, protect me, help me, help me. I didn't know Allah was telling me there's for me to learn, grow and develop. There's for me to actually become aware of who He is, live beyond superstition, ignorance and arrogance, live beyond entitlement. There's for me to know who I am, what He created me to be, and to live from my power as a believer, to live from my capacity and ability as a believer. As a believer aware of Allah, I'm no longer insecure. That's Iman. As a true Muslim, as one who is aware, I choose to live as a benefiting human being, benefiting myself, my body, my life, other people. I choose to play a positive role in my life. But there I was, insecure and self-abandoning, disrespecting of myself, my body, my life, other people. Be with other people that disrespected themselves. I didn't know until rock bottom came, and then it was a gift from Allah. I chose to be guided. So what I'm saying to you is that if you don't admit to yourself that you don't really know Allah, that you are yet to remember Allah, because when did you remember Allah? When you were a child and they told you all these ideas? I'm not saying there's no value in going to madrasa, but I'm saying you got to, at some point as an adult, have an actual relationship with Allah. You can't live your life. Well, you can, but I don't think you should expect to have Iman in your heart if you live your life with a childhood understanding. A child's understanding of God, of religion, and a very misguided understanding at that too. So I admitted to myself, I know that I don't know. I'm aware that I'm unaware. I want to be aware. I want to be aware. I want to remember God. The Quran says, remember God. I say, I want to remember God. But people will say, but what do you mean you want to remember God? Didn't you go to madrasa when you're growing up? Not really. Didn't you know about the Quran? Okay, yes, my mother taught me. My father, all that. I went to mosque, he took me to mosque sometimes, We used to stay on a farm, there was no mosque, so we used to read sometimes together, whatever, But I didn't get it. I wasn't really into it, I must tell you. Because they didn't call me to prayer, they called me to the mosque. They didn't call me to Allah, they called me to the cult. I don't want to be in a cult. I want to be with Allah. Anyway, shukr. So when I hit the rock bottom, I became aware that I was unaware. And I chose to be aware of Allah. I chose to be aware. I became intentional. Allah, I want to draw closer to you. I want to be aware of you, draw closer to you. I want to understand what Tawheed is. I want to live in submission. The more I became aware of Allah, who I wasn't really aware of, but I thought I was aware of, I realized Allah's caring. The caring of Allah, unique caring. The respect given to humanity. Allah's caring and respect given to humanity. I can't really respect myself, I can't respect anybody else until I recognize Allah's caring, compassion, His respect for us. He created us respect worthy. That's why all human beings have rights. No matter who you are, you have rights as a human being. You created worthy of respect. He blessed us with a great gift. Allah is the truly gifting. Now, when I was growing up, there was no awareness of Allah and experience Allah's respect for you, experience His caring for you. Become Allah conscious and recognize Allah is for us. Allah is for us. There was live in fear, you're bad, you're guilty, you must just not be bad, don't be a bad person, live from obligation, do things to alleviate guilt and shame, you should feel ashamed of yourself, you mustn't be bad, you mustn't be wrong. So to say that I'm not aware of Allah could be the scariest thing that any adult can do, because it'll be must I admit that? You can, because Allah is compassionate. He's not going to say, You forgot me. Allah is telling you humanity is in loss and insecure until guidance comes. Those who receive the guidance, they will no longer be insecure. So you can say to Allah if you want to, I'm not really aware of guidance. I got the religion part, some of it, but I'm not really, don't have the Iman part. I am unaware of you. I'm unaware of you. And, you don't have to feel shame. You don't have to feel guilt. You don't have to feel bad. Because Allah is compassionate. We human beings, Adam and Eve, they turned their back to Allah. Allah gave us the greatest gift of existence as human beings. And He cautioned Adam and Eve, stay away from that part of the garden where that tree is. Don't go there, Don't eat from that tree. Nothing bad did Allah do to us. Nothing bad will Allah do to us. Never live feeling threatened by Allah. Allah is not there to bully you and scare you. Allah is no bully. But you might feel like that. You might feel like that. Because of your parents and the gurus and how they threatened you and all that. The Prophet said to the people when he sent the people their miseries to give the good news to other people from different parts of the world. He said, never make people afraid of Allah. Never convey about Allah something you don't know, the Quran says. Never make people, if you don't know about Allah, don't talk about Allah. You know what I mean? But here people went to madrasa, became gurus and pandits from within that and learned what to say and all that. They're saying strange things. They're saying strange things. It's not what the Quran, not what the Prophet said. The Prophet was saying about Allah's love for humanity. The Quran is telling that when humanity was created, Allah asked all in the heavens to bow. All in the heavens to bow. The adoration for humanity. See, we don't know how valuable we have been created to be. We don't know. And we've got to admit that. We don't value ourselves as Allah values us. We've got to admit that. You know what I mean? We don't have self-respect. We don't have soul respect. Let's start there. Because that's what I'm going to talk about for the remainder of this time that we have today. That can you begin to honestly say, let me look and see at which point in my life did I remember Allah? Was it when I was a child and they told me all these kind of ideas? Did I remember Allah then? Did I experience assurance? Because verily in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. When did somebody tell me about Allah? And I relaxed. And I said, this is glad tidings. Or when you're told about Allah, you're a child, you didn't understand. Or what they told you put terror into you. So if at some point somebody, told you and you felt assured, then you can tell me, Ashraf, when I was little, so-and-so, you told me about Allah, Tawheed, what it is, to submit, to surrender. There's only Allah, we are His creation, we are in His care. There's no Allah and us, there's no duality, there's no plurality, there's only Allah. We are created beings in a created world. We are His creation in His care. There's only one power, one authority. There's nobody and nothing has power, authority. No guru, no pandit has authority. Allah is the one alone knowing. Nobody knows save Allah. Allah is the all-knowing. But He gave us the ability to be aware. His favor upon us is we can be aware of Him. And we can be aware of His greatness and graciousness. We can be aware of His perfection. But we are not perfect. But we can live healthy lives. But we're not perfect. But Allah is perfect. Allah is the power. We have Him. We are in His care. He spins the earth on His axis. He gives us water to drink, animals to eat. Life continues because of Him. He's favored us. He created us as the highest life form on earth. We human beings are the favored creation of Allah, as the Quran says. Given favors beyond other creation on earth. We're the highest life form on earth. Look and see. We don't behave like it, but we are. Nothing can take that away from us, even though we don't behave from it. Our behavior can't stop us from being the highest life form on earth. It just keeps us from experiencing ourselves as being the highest life form on earth. You get what I mean? Did anybody tell you this? Did anybody tell you who Allah really is, what Tawheed is? That you are His creation and you are in His care. You just have forgotten. You don't remember. And that the guidance is to remember, to become aware, look and see. Look and see the evidence, the signs. Look and see that this is the truth. Release the fears and insecurities that you have, that you're alone, that you need somebody, that you need something, that you need somebody and something to change, that something in the world has power to make you feel okay. Somebody in the power has power to make you go from the forgotten to the remembered. If you had somebody tell you all these things and you was a sigh of relief. Shukr to Allah. I'm His creation, His favorite creation. I've been given the best of bodies, like all human beings have been given the best of molds. Yes. You're favored? Yes. Guidance is there for you? Yes. You can learn, grow and develop? Yes. You can recognize that Allah is and is with you and for you, always interested in you, attentive to you, always available, unfailing, ever responsive. Say to the believers that I am near. When they ask you concerning me, say I am near. I will never deny the invocation of the invoker. I will never. I will always respond to the invocation of the invoker. Let them respond to me. Understand? Let them respond to me. Did anybody tell you this? Nobody told me. I'm not saying people are bad or wrong and they should have told me. I'm just telling you a fact. Nobody told me. Until I hit rock bottom and I turned to Allah and this information has come to me. It's not from a book. It's not from anybody. I can't even tell you, this guru is a great guru, he helped me, whatever. I can't even tell you that. I'm not saying there's no people in the world you can turn to for guidance. I don't know them. Fortunately, I turned to Allah. I claimed refuge with Allah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan. I did it. I didn't know I did it. I was actually doing it. People can say they're doing it. They can read it out. But they're not doing it. You can think you're riding a bicycle, but you're not going anywhere. You can think you're driving a car, but you're not going anywhere. So when you're riding that bicycle, you're moving. Driving that car, you move. When you're actually in a'udhu, the state of performing a'udhu, and that's what I did. Allah, I claim refuge in you from Satan the accursed. Allah, I choose a higher perspective. Allah, I choose a higher perception. Allah, I choose to go beyond who I've been, how I've lived, what I've experienced. Allah, I don't want to live underdeveloped anymore. Allah, I want to spiritually develop myself. Allah, I want to remember your experience secure. I want to feel good with you. Allah, I want to experience the peace. So that problem that seemed to hold my attention became secondary, because I knew that the real problem was I was living in a way that caused problems for me. When you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. I started intuitively, like it's natural, right? If you submit and truth is natural, everybody, it's universal. You'll just go this direction because you're not worshipping Satan anymore. And so the journey to become Allah conscious and experience Allah's caring for me, and to know how much valuing there is for me as a human being, and that even though we are astray and we forgot, Allah is compassionate. You don't have to feel shame and guilt. Allah already knows you are astray. He already knows you forgot Him. He's calling you back. He's cheering you on to the straight path. Street is cheering you on along the straight path. Come. He's not saying, oh, come, I'm going to smack you first and then I'll source, come here, let me pull your ears, give you a whack on the head, now get onto the straight path. No. When you become aware of Allah, you become aware of Allah as compassionate. Some of us don't know what compassionate is. We never saw in our own homes compassion demonstrated. The people who taught you about Allah don't know about compassion sometimes. So they really teach you about Allah, because Allah is all compassionate. You know what I mean? I'm becoming more compassionate, as an essence with other people. It's wonderful. Spiritual journey, adventure to a higher state of being. Nur, light energy, nur energy, frequency, vibration, energy. Nur, it's a wonderful thing. Heals your body, heals your mind, heals your life when you become aware of truth and you experience the truth that I am loved by my Creator. I am cared for. All of humanity has been. Nobody can love us. Nobody can respect us. Nobody can care for us as Allah has. Allah's compassion is there. I've got nothing to worry about. I don't have to carry the guilt and shame and things. I can just say I'm among those who don't remember. Nobody told me. I don't know. I want to remember. And I can choose to remember. I can choose to begin to see. To want to see. I can be intentional around recognizing Allah's compassion. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I claim the refuge with Allah from Satan, because that's what I did when there was problems. Instead of Satan saying to me, try to get Allah to change it. Be desperate, be needy. I said, A'udhu. I didn't even know I was saying it, not even those in words, but I was living it. And then it was Bismillah. That look, I must be in error, but I'm not guilty, I'm not shameful. Allah's compassion is here. I don't have to live shaming myself. Teach me, Allah. I want to learn. I don't have to feel guilt and shame. I don't know. I admit it. You are compassionate. You are merciful. I became aware of the wonderful nature of Allah. I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to fear making mistakes. I was already in error. There's only one way and up. Instead of looking at myself and finding all the mistakes and shaming myself around it, it's not going to help me. If I just admit I'm lost, I'm confused, I'm dazed, help me. I will learn slowly. Allah, you are compassionate. I became aware of the wonderful nature of Allah. The wonderful nature of Allah. Allah's wonderful nature. And I declared that there's only Allah. There's no other authority. Allah is sufficient for me. Allah for me to worship and to turn to. There's nobody else, not even me. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, la ilaha illallah. I know when you follow the guru system, they'll tell you can't trust yourself, you can't trust anybody else. This is how they get power over you. But I tell you can trust in Allah. They won't tell you that. I'm not telling you trust me. I didn't trust me. You definitely can't trust me or anybody else. You can only really trust Allah, your creator. Become aware that Allah is a trustworthy and is sufficient for you. You'll be like, but who am I? Why is Allah going to help me? You are His creation, in His care. He's calling you. He's aware of you. He's aware that you are lost. He was aware the Prophet was in darkness. He was aware that we're all in darkness. He sent us the guidance, sent us the Prophet, sent us the Quran, sent us truth. Guidance is a thing. But people are not interested in it. So when you start realizing how caring Allah is for you, unconditionally. You didn't have to make Allah caring. You don't have to make Allah respect you. You can't stop Allah from caring for you. You can't make Allah uncaring to you. You can't make Allah disrespect you. Allah is not the disrespectful. Allah is not the uncaring. Allah is the caring for humanity. He's the respectful of humanity. It's got nothing to do with us. The day I realized that, I knew Allah and I felt an assurance. Because a lot of us feel like, if we're going to make Allah love us, He's not loving. We have to buy His love. Let's be nice, He'll love us. Like how we are with other people pleasers. Let's please people. So you can become a God appeaser. I'll appease God and be nice so that He can love me. Allah already loves you. You understand? Allah is caring for humanity. Allah loves humanity. He's given us guidance. That is a sign that Allah is love. He didn't turn His back to humanity. We couldn't make Allah give us guidance. We can't stop Allah from giving us guidance. You can stop yourself from being aware of Allah's giving nature and kindness to you and His guidance. You can stop yourself from that, you can do. But you can't stop Allah from giving you guidance, from being there for you. He's there for you. You can stop yourself from being aware that He's there for you. And He's loving you and He's kind and He's hearing you. He's closer to you than your own jugular veins. He responds, He's immediate. He's here, hearing you. Like, what does it mean? He never heard me. Oh, I've been praying all these years. The prayers of those who have no faith is nothing but vain prayers. You've been praying as a non-believer. The Prophet ﷺ said that it is prayer, invocation, is the weapon of the believer. He never said it's the weapon of the Islami or the Muslim or whatever. He said it's the weapon of those who have Iman. See, those who are aware of Allah. So I'm just saying this to you. If you can recognize, if you have remembered Allah, you will know His caring and His compassionate nature and His consideration. You will know what you are as a human being favored. You will know that you'll have human esteem. You'll have esteem for other human beings, respect. You will respect yourself because you are aware of how much respect Allah has created you to have. You will respect your body because you know what Allah has given, the caring and consideration He's given. If you're moving unconscious and blind, living as an Islami in this world, you're no different from the kuffar and the mushrik, the associators and the deniers and this. You're no different from them. Until you're aware of Allah and you recognize this is His caring. This is His caring. I've been cared for. I can see and feel the caring of Allah. That's how you then become kind to your soul. You will not be kind to your soul if you don't see and feel the caring of Allah. Get what I mean? Don't get what I mean. The Quran says there are those who benefit their souls. Like verily in being grateful is a benefit of your soul. Some of us are not interested in our souls. That's how you know somebody doesn't have Iman. They're not interested in their soul, their spiritual development. They're not interested. They're not interested in relating to Allah in a way that will actually benefit them. They just want to do religious ceremonies. They want to do religious rituals. They want to believe in ideologies. They don't actually want to have a relationship with Allah. They don't want to respond to Allah. They don't want to experience that connection with Allah. They don't want to have their first vulnerability met. That from threatened vulnerability to assured that we are human beings and we require. But we have Allah. We don't have to be needy on anybody and ourselves and on Allah. We're not needy. We have Allah. We have Allah who has given us the ability to reason, to relate, to respond, to apply ourselves. We can apply ourselves. So there's Iman and Amal. We can recognize Allah's greatness and graciousness, and only He is perfect. We're not perfect. But we can be healthy. We can live naturally, tayyib. And we can aspire to that. So some of us are not interested in our spiritual health, right? Our soul. We're not interested. That's how you know that somebody is not aware of Allah, because they haven't received His caring. If you receive Allah's caring, you will be kind to your soul. If you receive Allah's caring, you will be kind to yourself. Now I'm telling you this because I have been through this. I was not kind to my soul. I was not kind. I wasn't into spiritual practices and spiritual development. I was not kind to my soul. And I wasn't kind to myself. Before guidance, there's Ashraf before guidance and Ashraf after guidance. Before guidance I was not kind to my soul, and I was not kind to myself, and I was not kind to my body. All that nicotine, all that poison, all that eating anyhow, not respecting my body. I was not kind to me, my body, my life. I wasn't interested in having a wholesome, tayyib life, an enjoyable, satisfying, natural health, a good life. I wasn't interested. A future and afterlife. I wasn't interested in my future. What about tomorrow, next month, next year, all the way through my death? What about the afterlife? I was not kind to me and my potentials and possibilities in this world through my death and beyond. I was not interested in afterlife. I was not interested in Jannah al-Firdaus. I could say it, but I wasn't really living it. You'll just be imitation. You'll be a counterfeit Muslim. You'll be an actor when you don't know Allah. Because when you do, I can tell you from a person who didn't know Allah and who knows Allah, I started caring for my soul. I started being kind to my soul. I started caring for myself. I started being kind to myself. I started being caring to my body. I started being kind to my body. I started being kind to my life, areas of my life. I started being interested in areas of my life, healthy, wholesome, natural, tayyib. I started being interested in my future, tomorrows, all the way through my death. I'm interested in my afterlife. I'm kind to my after self, future self, and after self. I'm kind. Woe to those who stand in prayer, but whose hearts lack the smallest of kindnesses. Think about it. Woe to those who stand in prayer, but whose hearts lack the smallest of kindnesses. They have the least kindness to their soul, to themselves, to their bodies, to their lives, to their future lives, to their afterlives, to areas of their lives, to people, things, and experiences in their life. Let me not forget kindness to others. Real kindness to others. And I'm not talking about, I'm a people pleaser, I do everything for everybody whenever they want it. That's not kindness, right? That's throwing away your time, energy. That's like self-disrespect. Because a people pleaser is not kind to themselves, and they don't really receive other people's kindness. I was so unkind to myself before. I didn't let people be kind to me. I'm only learning that one now. But shukr, I'm learning. I'm growing. No, inshallah, I have a long, healthy life that I can learn as much as I can learn and grow as much as I can grow and develop as much as I can develop spiritually, in Iman, Amal, a life tayyibun, to be a contribution here. You know, I was thinking, I must contact the radio station to do a program for unmarried women and how to guide them from the Quranic perspective to marry. And I know that probably the people who listen to it, they won't understand it or they don't want to understand it. But you know, the Quran says, keep reminding that I will teach an unteachable group of people, not because I want them to learn, but because it is my right and duty to champion Islam, to champion the truth, to champion the greatness of Allah, you know, the amazing conduct of the Prophet, the beautiful way that is Islam, the wonderful way that human beings can live spirituality with prayer. I will do it till the day I die, inshallah. You know, I'll do it. And I know people are not interested in what I'm saying. They're not. It doesn't matter. Allah has guided me to compassion. I'll do it anyway. Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty. His choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.